really nice, good winds. We're healing, but like not terribly. Yes, that was a good surfing wave.
That was a great wave. We got
some nice waves, some swell. Uncle Ken's driving. Valerie and Daddy are talking.
So what we're doing this morning, we are tying the boat up for water, reprovisioning, a little help from our dock guys, and then we're going to check the weather report. We anticipate leaving for Anegada no later than noon. We'll be at least reefed in 1 to start because we expect some fairly fresh winds, perhaps gusting up to 28 knots.
Woo!
We will consider reefing in 2 depending on how it feels when we get off.
And Daddy, what is your part in all this?
Pause.
Daddy, lose that one.
No, it's all in the post-production. Perfectly fine. It's all
Yeah,
gonna
we're not set up for post-production editing on this boat.
So it's all going to be edited at home, and then you can see.
We are on our way to Anegada. About a 2.5 hour sail. Uncle Ken is driving so far. How is it?
A lot of weather hell. Trying to sort it out. Playing with the bare legs.
Yes.
We'll see.
How are you liking the sail so far?
It's a good day.
Good day. What about you, Daddy?
It's very nice.
Papa?
I'm loving it.
Yes. He's a little overexcited.
I'm overexcited, I am.
You're very overexcited. He's loving it. I'm the tech guide because nobody else can figure out how to use
Tech
it.
girl.
Tech guide.
Oh, guide. Okay.
And yeah, so I found on the map Anegada.
Anegada. Don't lean on the wheel because Ken's going to move it. Let's call somebody.
Tell us what's your favorite thing about sailing.
Going places and not burning gas.
Going places and not burning gas. Is this a good sail?
This is a good sail. Oh yeah, and not to mention the water. We
So-
had a fishing line right now. There's a mountain.
So where do we sail out from?
We left Leverick Bay, Virgin Gorda, British Virgin Islands, and we are headed on a course of almost due north at 6 degrees. Bearing, we should be bearing 6 degrees. Ken's doing his best to hold that. We're probably going to have to head in. We're going to drop into the west end of Anegada.
Is it about 2.5 hour sail?
We think, yeah. Let's see, just right.
I found out how to look on the weather on that. Yeah, so we're having fun.
We're having fun. I'm glad you are.
Uncle Ken's doing a very good job.
I think the trimming sail is perfect.
That's a very
You got this next to you.
Yes. Great sail.
Good sail. We're off to a great start. We got out there into the channel. We pulled the main up. Did a bit of a reef, not much. Now we're on our trajectory to head to Anegada. Pretty soon we'll lose sight of most of the island before. Certainly, of course, we can't see Anegada, so we're sailing by instrument. Fair skies, blue waves.
Is it a little turning, twisty turning today?
No, the wind's pretty steady.
Rolly?
Well, the rolly is natural when you're out here because there's no barrier to these. These waves are coming from, go as far east as you want, Europe.
Papa's over there. Live it.
How's it feel to you now, honey?
Yeah, that's not bad. A little faster.
You can turn on autopilot.
I think I'd rather do this for now.
Soon we are going to lose sight of that island right there. We're going to lose sight of most of those, like we already have.
For a while. But I figure if
But so far,
right now, the better.
so good.
Yep. So what happened? Boats being boats, we didn't expect to sail without some challenges, but suffice it to say we had one too many equipment failures, which resulted in our charter company actually taking the boat back and booking us on this huge Lagoon 450. It was a very swanky, nice catamaran, and we actually had a captain to go with it. So I'll explain what happened while this map is kind of floating through, and it gives you a rough idea of the different places that we went to. When we actually ended up needing to switch boats, we would have preferred just go to another monohull, but none were available from this company, so we ended up going onto the catamaran, which Valerie, our skipper, wasn't certified to sail alone, though I think we probably could have done just fine, and we ended up getting a captain to go with it. When we first sailed off, we had trouble getting the mainsail all the way up, which happens for a number of reasons, some of which are major, some minor, and not all require being fixed right away. But on the second day of our sail, it became apparent that the reefing lines were tangling in the luff of the sail at the end of the boom, and we couldn't fix it while we were actually moving, nor could we exactly see why they were getting tangled up. So Ken and Valerie took the boat back out into the channel while Sean and Ava and I actually explored the baths at Virgin Gorda, which is a series of rocks that have kind of fallen into shallow water and create some really incredible shallow water pools and tide pools and places to crawl around, and really pretty amazing place to see. So the boat was sailing fine. The sail went all the way up, and we decided to go ahead and go up to our next stop, which is at the other end of Virgin Gorda at Leverick Bay. And that'll show up on the map in just a second. Also a very nice resort area, fantastic restaurant, showers there, they have a marina. And so we went up there, and the next morning reprovisioned, got water, fuel, some extra food, and started making plans to go on up to Anegada. And Anegada is about 10 to 12 miles away from the main cluster of the Virgin Islands, depending on where you're leaving from. And it's really mostly an outpost, but there's a fantastic beach club up there. The sand is really beautiful, and there are other people there, but you really get the sense of being out in a desert island in a literal sense of the word. So ultimately, we left Leverick Bay that morning, and we sailed up, and what I can tell you is when we got the reef lines untangled and got the sail all the way up, we were really flying. This is a big 50-foot boat, and it was really moving. We were consistently making 6 to 8 knots, sometimes more than that, through 4 and 5, occasionally higher waves, really splashing through. And going up, I mean, it became apparent to me that this was real sailing. We were a little uncomfortable, but it was still a lot of fun. It was hot. So going down below in the rough water with the heat, we did get a little seasick, but all things considered, it was a fantastic sail until we got there. So when we arrived in Anegada and started our approach into the bay, which has shown up on this map a couple of times, the shallow water is kind of off to the side. So Valerie and Ken have been there before. They had planned this out. But we got there and realized that the sail wasn't coming down. And we had had trouble getting the mainsail down with some friction. Not only not able to get it up in the days previous, but this time it was really jammed. The halyard was not letting the sail come down, and it seemed to be tangled up in the mast. So we ended up having to turn around and come back to Trellis Bay. In the meantime, we basically have the sail all the way up. We're under full power and trying to decide how to stop, or do we sail around in circles, go to Cuba, what do we do? And Ken and Valerie, being the experienced sailors that they are, made the fantastic decision to heave to, which worked great in this boat. So we were able to back the jib, sail against it with the main, with the rudder the other way, and we slowed way down and just kind of drifted until we could decide what to do. We called our charter company and said, hey, what gives? Got a problem. They said, well, come back to Trellis Bay and we'll try to fix it this evening, which was quite a proposition. But Ken and Valerie had been there before. We actually had been there by foot on land. It's near the airport. And we sailed and ran the engine on the way back, trying to get there by dark. And when we pulled into Trellis Bay, we were still under full sail. The sun was in fact going down, and the wind was blowing about 20 knots consistently. And if not for the help of the terrified people that saw us coming in this big boat with the sails fully up and a fortunately functional bow thruster, I don't know that we would have ever gotten on a mooring ball. We would have hit somebody. We did bump the bottom in the shallow areas, but that sort of didn't matter because we really needed to get tied up. And we were able to do it. And they sent their crew out that night to actually try to fix the halyard problem. And I don't know whether they fixed it or not, but we essentially said, hey, look, this isn't going to work. We need to get a new boat. And so they switched us over to a almost brand new 45-foot lagoon catamaran named King Louis, and we continued our trip.
All I've got's love for Love City. All of her people are my people too. Every color, every creed, together in good times, together in need. All I've got's love for Love City. No, I wasn't there on the island the night that the drums went silent. But as much as I've lived my life on her shore, I'll be a part of the encore, yeah. 'Cause all I've got's love for Love City. All of her people are my people too. Every color, every creed, together in good times, together in need. All I've got's love for Love City. My healer, my heaven, my home. The day that I found you, my burdens were gone. And the same as you give your gift of freedom, let us give gifts back now that you need them. Yeah, 'cause all we feel's love for Love City. Yeah, all of her people are my people too. Every color, every creed, together in good time, together in need. All I've got's love for Love City. Yeah, come share the love, come feel the love. All I've got's love for Love City. Come share the love, come feel the love. All I've got's love for Love City. For Love City. Yeah. All of her people are my people too. True now. For Love City.